people read in the Bible, and it really does not resonate the way it should be. Because the problem is the Bible was written 2,000 years ago. So there's some stuff that when they talk about it, it meant a lot deeper to them because it was their everyday life. It's like if back then in Jesus said you were talking about an iPad, they're not going to get what you're talking about. They're going to be like, huh? So back then, this verse meant that you are going to miss it. Jesus was declaring to them, I am the bread of life. Well, the problem with that statement is that for us, bread is not essential. Any of you can go to Macaroni Grill. Any of you can go to Golden Corral, can go to Olive Garden, and they will bring you for free a bowl of bread. The first thing you do when you're working out to cut on calories, to cut your diet, first thing you get rid of is what? Bread. Because it's the easiest thing that you don't need. The first thing they cut out. The first thing that you don't need at a restaurant because you want to eat your main meal, your main course, and leave room for dessert, you cut off the bread so you can have more to eat to your main meal. But the problem is that for the disciples, for example, in the Lord's Supper, bread was the main meal. They had at the Lord's Supper what? Bread and wine. That's it. The main course meal for them was the bread. But the problem is, in our culture, in the American culture, bread has become leftovers, have become seconds, has become just something else that we have left over after we get our main course meal. If I don't know if you're following me, but I believe that in the spiritual condition, we've hit the same problem. We put God as leftovers, as what comes after our main meal, what is just there when we need it. Not so much as our main course. Because we want our steak. We want our rice and beans. We want our plátanos, and then afterwards we'll have some dessert. That's a problem in our culture. We put, especially in our age, we'll say, I got time for God later. Now is my turn. Now is my turn. I'm going to go out. I'm going to drink. I'm going to party. I still believe in God. I still got my own relationship with God on my side. But I'll have a real, true relationship with God later. But I'm missing something here. Because if a guy ever told that to you girls, y'all be offended. Y'all be like, excuse me? I'm going to be your main or nothing at all. I'll move on by the time you come back. What if God was supposed to say the same thing to you? I moved on by the time you got to me. You know, Trayvon Martin, I'm sure, thought he had the rest of his life ahead of him. He went to the gas station, got a pack of Skittles and a bottle of tea. Got home, started walking home, and never made it home. We'll never know what really happened that night, other than I know that a 17-year-old kid will never got home. He reached a different home. Which one it is, I don't know. You'll walk out of your house thinking you're going to get a bag of Skittles. Some of you might not come back home. But what happens if it comes in the time where you weren't making God your main course meal? When God was just your leftovers. When God was just something else. There comes a moment in time in our lives, and every person, well, they declare, especially as young adults, we say, I need a change. Where I've come to at this moment, I don't like it. I don't like who I've become. I need a change. I need a change. There are many people that recognize they need a change, but don't know the source of where they need to get a change. If, like, for example, the young adult that has a messed up license or breaks the license and needs to renew his license or needs to get a new license. If you don't know you need to go to the DMV to get it changed, it doesn't matter if you go to Walmart. It doesn't matter if you go to the gas station. You're not going to the right place to get your license renewed. The problem is when you have your spiritual condition and you need to renew it. When you need to renew your spiritual condition, the club ain't going to change it. The bar ain't going to change it. It's just going to mess it up even more. That's the problem. You needed to go to the source where your license came from, which is the DMV. You have been given life by God. If along the way your life has deteriorated, it's not because of the person that gave you life, but because along the way you mistreated what happened. It's if my father gives me a car, and along the way after the gift, I start getting a flat tire, things start falling off the car, it starts messing up. It's not the giver's fault that the car is deteriorating. It's the person driving the car whose lack of maintenance has caused the car to begin to deteriorate. The same thing in our lives, though. God is the giver of life. If along the way our life begins to deteriorate, it's not God's fault. It's our fault. For example, I heard not too long ago when all the sex scandals with the Roman Catholic Church. And I started seeing all over Facebook. This is my problem with organized religion. This is my problem with God. See, all these people are trying to hide stuff, trying to hide the priests. They're saying they're all holy, and look at what they're doing. And I have a problem with that. Because then I can't keep my mouth shut, so I had to respond to some of these statuses. And I had to respond just in the same way that the whole thing happened at Penn State, the Penn State scandal. Just because one coach raped a little boy doesn't mean I'm going to boycott all of college football because of it. Then why, because of one person's mistake, we can boycott all of God and all of church? You don't boycott all of it. Because if not, you need to boycott everything. In other words, they should boycott all of you. We're not perfect. The Pharisees tried to kill Mary Magdalene. Rightfully so, she had made mistakes. But they were more concerned with her obvious mistake than with their hidden mistakes. That's the problem. See, let me tell you something. A naked truth will always be better than a dressed up lie. Always. The Pharisees were nothing more than a dressed up lie. Mary Magdalene came naked as the truth and said, this is who I am. And at that moment, Jesus arrived and says, you that have no sin, throw the first stone. All they had to do was drop the rocks that they had, because they all knew that at that moment, God convicted them of the sins that they had done. All of us had committed sins. Bible declares, for all have fallen short of the glory of God, therefore have been separated to him. There is none righteous, no, not one. You read any part of the book of Romans, you will see we are not perfect at all. There's even a man named Paul that says in Romans chapter 7, verse 15, the things that I want to do, I don't do. And the things that I don't want to do, I do. It's like saying, like some of you, we go to the Golden Corral, go somewhere to eat. I'm not going to eat the chocolate cake. Not happening. End of the date, you're stuffing your face with 2 plates of the chocolate cake. But you swore to yourself you weren't going to do it. But you did it anyways. That's a joking, man, but we do the same thing with sin. We will walk out of church. Man, I'm changed my life for good. Man, I'm going to start being loyal to God. You will leave all excited. You leave your faith energized. You're like, oh, man, I'm going to be good for God. And then you get a phone call the next day, because Thursday is young adult. But Friday, there's no church for young adults. So you need something to do. And then your good old friend is always there when you don't need them, always calls you and says, what you doing tonight? Nothing. Well, I got something for you, so let's do nothing together at the club or at the bar or at the house party or in the place where you know it's not anything good. And at that moment, you come into a crossroad between a decision. Because you're not in church then. You don't have a preacher motivating you to take your faith up higher. What happens? You then need to use yourself to energize your spirit to say no. That's what's tough. There you need self-control. That's what that whole Bible verse that says we have not been given a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. In other words, you have the decision to make. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Life is not based on destiny. Life is the full summation of all the decisions that we have made across time to that moment. Fate might bring someone into your life, but it's up to you whether you keep them in your life. It's up to you Will you let them in or out of your life? We have all lied, stolen, deceived. And if you haven't done it physically, you've done it in your mind. Because I know I've killed a lot of people in my mind. Some of you shouldn't be here. But anyways, I killed a lady the other day in my mind. 3:01, I'm driving to church. I'm driving my way to church. This lady is being extra slow. So I swerved to the left. I started accelerating. A demon came in her. And she started accelerating, thinking she was Jeff Gordon. I'm like, oh, heck no, I have an Audi. She wouldn't let me. There's a truck in front of me. I had to slow down. So I had to get back in my lane. And the truck moved, and I got back in the lane. Guess what happened? To my luck, I got a red light. So what happened? Me and her are next to each other. But you know what was cool, though? She waved at me. But it wasn't a wave that I can respond here in church, so it was cool. She gave me the finger, not the peace sign either. But it was cool. But at that moment, when I finally got to the sign, though, something came over me. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what happened if I had a fish sign in the back of my car? What if I had a logo, a church logo? I'm still a representation of God. What was I showing at that moment? That's just a car, but what do we represent when we go to certain places? Hang out with certain people. When we write on a Facebook, what are we representing? I need to take you to this point because I need to let you know you're not as perfect as you think you are. We're not. We are all destined and deserve to go to hell. It's not that, man, I really shouldn't go. No, it's that you deserve to go to hell. I explained this to another person the other day, and it's when you're guilty, you desire mercy. When you're innocent, you seek justice. But none of us are innocent. We're all guilty. Therefore, we're all seeking mercy. When we stand before the judge, it's not, I need justice. It's no, I need mercy. I need the blood to be sprinkled over me because I need some forgiveness. I need to sprinkle some on me right now. Hold up. I need to sprinkle some on y'all too. Why? Because we all need some forgiveness. Why? For example, I ask you a question. What would have happened in the story, The Beauty and the Beast, if the beauty would never have arrived? Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, that movie. What would have happened if the beauty would never have arrived? The story goes of a prince, a handsome prince, one with power, with fortune, with a castle, with a name that everybody respected. But it came a moment in time where his true character on the inside came out, where he came in face with a little old lady and did not help her in the midst of the winter. His character on the inside flowed forward, and then that lady that looked ugly and nasty showed who she really was and was a beautiful witch. And it says, forever you will look on the outside the way you look in the inside. And it said that this man, beautiful prince, turned into disgusting, horrific, nasty beast. What was on his heart then became evident for all to see on his exterior and became a beast. And what the story goes, that once the heart of the prince changed, it said that everything that he touched and everything that he owned turned into the same state. See, many look at the movie and we see that the castle is scary. We see that it's gloomy. But it came after the heart of the prince changed. Your surroundings and your circumstances goes from worse to worse after your heart goes from worse to worse. Because you're walking into it. That's the problem. When you talk to somebody, are they worse off or better off because they talk to you? When you walk into a place, is that place better off or worse off than you had just got there? I know some people in my life that infect me instead of affect me. There are people in your life that you need to understand that infect you like a virus, like a parasite, that all they do is just rip from you, not give onto you. It's not a symbiotic relationship. It's a parasitic relationship. And they suck the life out of you. That you talk for them for 30 minutes and you're drained. Some of you need to understand that you're the one infecting other people because you're infected. So you cannot give more than what you have. Today you need to analyze yourself. X-ray your heart a bit and see what's inside here. Have I truly received the best gift? Have I received truly Jesus, or do I just know of Jesus? Do I know God? You know, the better question is not do I know God, but does God know me? You know, I can say I know Bill Gates. Question is, does Bill Gates know me? That's the real question. Anybody can say they know somebody, but the question is, how much of that person know you and trust you? That's when the difference comes. And the Bible says that, the story continues that once a curse fell upon him, it fell upon all that he had, all of his surroundings. What happened after the curse fell, though? It says he secluded himself, locked the gates of his castle, and everybody was under seclusion in the castle. Why? Because his heart was alone. His heart was nasty, so he wanted nobody to see him, so he secluded himself in the confines of his castle. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Save that. After that, it says that everybody in there became a prisoner as well next to their master. How many times have we become prisoners to our circumstance, to our situation? Well, we're inside a mental prison that we just can't get out. How many times have we been under the prison of addiction, and that can't let us go? There are moments where we feel imprisoned by the situations or the things that we have allowed into our lives. So we feel unworthy. We feel less than ourselves. So what do? We seclude ourselves. You ever seen somebody that you know they've had a rough week just by the way that they're acting? They seclude themselves from the world by putting up a shield or a wall that blocks them from you. They're there, but not really there. Sin will make you feel shame. Sin will make you run. There are people that don't come to church after they sin because they feel bad. They feel bad. That's why people go out Saturday night and they can wake up that Sunday morning, but they don't. It's not because they can't, because they don't want to. Because when they walk in through the doors, they feel yucky. They feel gross. They're no better than a trash man after a long day at work. Because you've been picking up so much trash that night. You don't want to come to a place like church, which is the exact place you should come for a nice rub down. I'm going to wash you down like a car. Shh. We ain't detailing you. We just going to wash you down, man. But some of you, that's just too much. Heck yeah, we pressure washing you. That's just too much. Man, look like a semi-truck. You need to stop. But what happens? After he secluded himself, when he least expected it, someone appeared at his door. At his doorstep, somebody appeared, and it was beauty. It says, when beauty appeared, the rest of Beast's life will never be the same because the beauty arrived. His eyes looked into the beauty, and he knew there was something different. He didn't want to let her go. He didn't know what it was about her. He just knew he couldn't let her go. Because the way the beauty looked at him was completely different than what anybody else looked at him. The beauty looked at him not for as big and disgusting that he was, for all the hair that he had, not for the teeth and the fangs or for the attitude. The beauty looked into the eyes of the beast, and it pierced through his eyes. It says the beast will look her back, and it could tell that she had no fear of him. Had no fear of the beast, and looked it straight in the eyes, what no one else would do. And will see the beast exactly for what he was. Saw him pacificating the wall that he put up of anger, and looked straight into his eyes. And from that moment, the beast's life will never be the same. Why? Because she cared. She had compassion for him. She connected with the beast in a way that no one else could. But why? She didn't have to. She didn't have to. She was a beautiful girl. She was beauty. He was a disgusting beast. She did not have to care or have compassion, but she did. Because along the way, beauty looked at the beast and she fell in love. And there came a day when the beast looked back into her eyes and he knew something within him had provoked him to change. The anger that was once there was still there, but it was moving in a different way. It was softening in a different way. His heart of stone began to soften. And often this story is so familiar to us and so many adore it. Why? Because it speaks about our life. It speaks about our relationship with God, because we come into church, we feel that disgusting, horrific, nasty beast, and we look into the eyes of Jesus telling us, I love you. Not because I have to, but because I want to. You look into the eyes of Jesus and you can tell that Jesus has compassion because he cares into your life. He wants to be a part of you. He connects to you. He looks past the fakeness that you put up every day. He looks past the mask that you put up to block people. He goes through the wall to reach you. Because Jesus will always climb higher, dig deeper, and push harder than he'll ever have to reach your heart. Because God will lose his own life before he loses you. Not because he has to, but because he wants to. Because he loves you. More than any man will love you. More than any woman will love you. Because he'll see you for what you really are. And he'll see you for what you can be. Not for what you currently are.